Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Mina. This is actually my first YouTube video ever. I tried making an intro video and that just was not working out for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the first topic, which, as you can tell by the title, is facing your fears and transitioning to the unknown. So as I'm doing this, it is December 31st. In a couple hours it's gonna be the new year. So I figured what better time to talk about this topic than now, when people are wanting to try new things and building the nerve to take action on those things in the new year. So during my time here on this planet, I've experienced a lot of transitions, and I'm sure you have as well. So for me, a lot of those transitions had to do with career shifts, ending relationships, moving to new spaces, and so forth. And for me, all of those things were really hard, but in the same token, all those things turned out to be really good. I'm personally am somebody that gets attached to people and things, mostly people, which makes it difficult for me to leave situations. A lot of times we care so much about others that it makes it hard for us to transition to something new. We end up sacrificing ourselves for other people, and if that's you, you're a beautiful person, but you need to stop and prioritize yourself. We perform our best when we are our best, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And if God has placed it on your heart to move on to something new, it might be time to do that. So I'm going to discuss some ways that we can overcome fear, but first let's go ahead and define it. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain or a threat. So with that definition in mind, in many ways, fear is a friend. It keeps us safe from threats. If you see something dangerous coming at you, fear is going to come up and let you know you need to bust a move and get up out of there because you're about to be in a dangerous type of situation. So fear can be a friend and it can protect us, but it can also be a hindrance. So when it is a hindrance, going back to when I said fear is a friend, just like sometimes we need to sit down and have conversations with our friends, sometimes we need to sit down and have a conversation with fear, especially when it's prohibiting us from growth. So one thing we can do to help us overcome our fears is list out what our fears are. And to be clear, I'm talking about fears that you actually want to overcome. I have a fear of skydiving, but that's not something that I want to do ever. I don't care if I ever skydive in my life. So that is not a fear that I'm going to list. But for example, if I was in a relationship and I wanted to get out of the relationship but I was afraid, that's one I would write down. You can write down ones that you actually want to do but you're afraid to do it. So first, list your fear. Second, list what would happen if you stayed in that fear. And then third, what would happen if you overcame it. So here's an example of what that might look like. I'm going to use the relationship example. So if my fear was getting out of a relationship, I would write, what would that look like if I stayed in that relationship? So if I stayed with this person, maybe that looks like I'm with someone that's moody every day. I'm with someone I'm no longer attracted to. I'm with someone that doesn't treat me right. Whatever that looks like for you, write that down. And then I would write, what would it look like if I left? So I could write things like I'd be sad for a while. I might be lonely. It'll be hard to find someone else. I might never find someone else. Whatever you feel, right? Your comments could look like that, but I also encourage you to look at the positive of things as well. So I could write, I have an ample amount of opportunities to find the person for me. I have the opportunity to grow and get to know myself. I have the opportunity to look for someone that has the qualities that I'm looking for. And also, when you're making this list, decide whether or not the stuff you're writing is true. So when I wrote the stuff that sounded kind of negative at first, like I might not ever find someone, like, do we really think that's true? Like, there are about 8 billion people on the planet and we don't think we'll find one person that likes us. We don't think that we'll find one person that we like too. Like, who am I? But I'm 99.9% sure that out of 8 billion people, you'll be able to find somebody. When I think about some of the most disrespectful and obnoxious people that I know, they are in relationships. And I know that you, someone that's working on themselves, someone that clicked on a video about overcoming fear, you'll be able to find somebody. But anyway, this video is not about breakups. I'm getting off topic. Back to the topic of fear. The strategy we just discussed is helpful because it shows you what life would look like if you stayed in fear and what it could look like if you stepped out of it. And you can look at the two and decide which one you want. Another strategy you can use, and this is one that I got from a life coach that I worked with, is list out your fears, and then you want to write ways to prevent your fears from happening, and then you want to write down what would happen if your fear came true. So for this example, I'll use a career shift. Let's say the fear is I want to start my own business, but I'm afraid if I do, I will fail. So I'm going to write things I can do to prevent failure. So I can save up money, so I have some wiggle room once I leave my job. I can cut back on unnecessary expenses. I can start working on my side hustle while staying in my current job so that I can transition over smoothly. List out all the prevention stuff you can do to prevent failure. And then third slot, you want to write what would happen if I actually did fail. What if I left my job, started my own business, and it failed? Well, I would probably write, I can always go back to my old job. Let's pretend that I just blew everything. I lost my home and all that. I could stay with my mom. I could stay with my dad. Blah, blah, blah. Just list whatever is true for you. And I realize everybody's circumstances is different. Not everybody has someone that can go stay with if they did lose their job, their home, whatever. Make sure that what you write is realistic to you. But the goal is that your prevention plan is so strong that you won't end up in that category where you lose everything. The last thing I want to say, well, it's not the last thing, second to last thing I want to say is that it's okay to fail. Failure helps us learn and grow. Norman Larson is the dude that made WD-40. I don't know if you know, but that 40 at the end means 40th attempt. He didn't get the formula right until his 40th attempt. So that means he failed 39 times before he got it right. Imagine if he gave up. He would not make the money that he made. I don't think he's still alive. I don't know. But that product is used everywhere now. Imagine if he gave up. Anyway, I'm going to close with a quote that I personally have heard many times. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is taking action despite having fear. So the only thing that separates a brave person from a coward is action. So one person feels fear and takes action in spite of feeling that fear. That's the brave person. The other person feels fear and lets it paralyze them. That's a coward. Decide who you want to be. Even for me, with starting this channel, fear told me not to do it. Fear stated all these what ifs, but I decided I'm gonna stop being a punk and just do it and see what happens. What's something that you want to be courageous in this year? Let me know in the comments. And if you stayed and watched this whole video, thank you so much. You're the best. Please like, comment, and subscribe to get your girl growing. Thank you again.